Hi! I'm Heather, also known as Rycrafty, and this is my satellite dish. So the last video I posted 2 weeks ago, Conan was at the vet's getting a little tumor on his eyelid taken out. And now we're just a few hours away from a trip to the vet, where hopefully this will come off. It's been 2 weeks. I've been very good, just like the vet told me. I did not remove the cone ever. He was very unhappy about that. He recovered well from the surgery. The incision, I guess, was just sort of on his eyelid. I was joking that like that's the villain scar in movies, is the like through the eyelid and onto the cheek scar. Like he doesn't have the lower part, but he's got the upper part. It's just a couple stitches. I think the cone has bothered him more than than recovering from the stitches and all that. The cone and the fact that I have put ointment in his eye 3 times a day for the past 2 weeks. But yeah, he got used to the cone. I was worried about him jumping up onto the couch or onto the bed or not being able to and hurting himself. He could do that fine. Eating, that was a different problem. Drinking, going to the bathroom, that was a learning curve for him. But yeah, so last week my mom came out to visit and help with little mister, again, because I wasn't sure how mobile he would be with the cone and what he'd be able to do. And then it's just been us two for the past week, and I've started knitting again. I know, knitting with Rycrafty. That's what this is supposed to be. And it's more just dog stories, but if you're going to come and watch me knit and do my other crafts, there will be dog stories, because this guy, actually this guy who tried to chop my nose off with the cone this morning, like, it hurt. He really tried to chop my nose off. But, yes, I found that the cone has made his snoring louder. I think partly because it's like he's in a megaphone and then he snores and it's loud. But I think also the positions that he can sleep in with the cone on are the ones where he snores more. So normally when he snores, I just like, it's like a person, just elbow him and he stops snoring for a while. But there's been a lot louder snoring. Oh, good boy. And he's been a bit more grumbly. And I think it's just Cone. It's also really funny having a dog named Conan wear a cone, because he answers to Conehead. Or just Cone. So, last video, we went through all my works in progress. And there were, I felt like it was a lot. It's definitely a lot of work to get done. And as we were going through that video and I was showing things, I kept saying, well, maybe this will be the year I'll do this, and this will be the year I'll do that. And I think this is the year I'm going to try and get them done. I went so far as to make a little sheet. Projects in Progress 2019. I put all of them on there. The knitting, the sewing, the cross stitch. And so I have their craft. And then the project status update of where they were at the beginning part. I just called it January 2019, and then updates. So I'm going to post this on my wall and fill it in, and hopefully you guys will keep me accountable, and I'll be checking in with you guys. One is already crossed off. It was that black and white dress that I said I thought I was going to throw out. I threw it out. I did not want to finish it. I did not want to wear it. It's enough. Goodbye. So, crossed out, update, garbage. The other thing I filled in like a lighter gray so I can still write over it with a marker. I filled in a couple goals because like my mitten advent garland, I want to have that done by December 1st. The Downton Abbey quilt, I decided to give that a goal for September 1st because the Downton Abbey movie's coming out in September, and I think that would be as my goal for that quilt was to watch season 6 of Downton Abbey underneath it, I think we can modify the goal now to have it finished before the movie comes out. And then the 2 cross stitches, I put those goals as October 1st, because one is Halloween and they're going to be, I need to, finish the Christmas cross stitch and then sew both cross stitches into cushion covers that will fit on the same cushion that will be out in October and December. And the rest of the things don't have like due dates or anything, but I'm going to see how many of these I can finish this year. So, knitting update. After all that talking about goals, I surely worked on something, right? No, I started something new. I started a little baby sweater because 2 of my very best friends. Oh, you get tangled. Oh, sit on the baby sweater. Good boy, you stay there. 2 of my very best friends had a baby in September, and we don't live in the same city anymore. This has been my life for the past 2 weeks. He wants to do what he normally does, but he has a cone on his head, so he just bashes into me, the walls, the couch. A few more hours. So, this couple, they had a baby, very end of September 29th or 30th, I think. And we don't live in the same city anymore. I mailed a parcel with some baby hats, including a pumpkin one, because he was meant to be an October baby. He was only a couple of days off. But they're coming out here, and I'm hopefully going to get to see them in a few weeks. And I realized that... See what I said about the snoring? This is partly why I didn't record earlier in the week, because I thought that would happen. And I can't do it after the vet appointment today, because by the time we get back it will be dark outside. And it's nice to have the natural light coming in. So I hope maybe you'll fall asleep. Maybe don't download this one and listen to it in the car, because the snoring is either really going to bother you or put you to sleep. Anyway, these friends don't live here. They're coming out here. I'm going to see them, hopefully. And I realized that Crazy Auntie Heather, which is what I've decided I am, needs to knit a baby sweater, because I wanted to knit him a sweater. But then he was early and I was late getting stuff started, so I only sent the hats. And so I wanted to knit him a sweater while he was still kind of small. Life with a pug. Life with a pug wearing a megaphone. So I started this baby sweater. It's top-down raglan. I think I'm on the row, or only 1 or 2 rows away from where I can separate the arms from the body, which is nice. It's the Flax light pattern. So it's a Tin Can Knits design. They have their Flax sweater, which I believe is a worsted weight, and then the Flax light is a fingering weight. And I know, a sweater that I want to get done quickly. Why am I doing fingering weight? It's because so much of my stash is sock yarn. Most of my stash is sock yarn, unless it's a sweater quantity adult size that I don't want to break up. And I like sock yarn. I like the finer gauge things. So last night I went through my stash. At first I was looking on Ravelry because I was on the couch and it was comfy and I had my computer. But then I dove in to the stash cabinet, and it was really nice just like to run my hands through everything, because I really haven't knit much in the past 2 years, really. What with all the changes and the moving and getting the dog, having the dog took up a lot of what was knitting time, what with walks and just playing with him and being distracted by him. Yes, that's right, if you're awake you don't snore. But I miss knitting, and I really wanted to get into it, and I thought maybe a quick little baby sweater new project will jumpstart me and just get me get the knitting mojo going again. And I think it has, because even just looking through my stash cabinet was amazing. I haven't been doing a lot of yarn buying in the past few years. In fact, I've done almost no yarn buying. I'm not going to say completely no, because there were a couple things I bought in the past few years, but nothing like I used to buy. And I wasn't a huge purchaser, huge spender then, but like finances have been tight. I just haven't been spending a lot on things that aren't groceries, transit, school fees, vet bills. What was I saying? But yeah, so I haven't been spending a lot, and I haven't been buying new yarn like I used to, and I guess I haven't looked in the yarn cabinet for a while because I wasn't knitting, but it made me feel so rich and like so lucky to look through those cupboards and see all the yarn that I had bought. And I don't know, it was really nice. It was like my own little yarn store in my house. And it reminded me of times when I could buy yarn, and it was really nice. And so, all that long explanation to say, this is a skein of yarn I had in my stash. It's Blue Moon Fiber Arts, the Socks That Rock, lightweight. I keep scratching his head, he wakes up. Well, maybe not. Socks That Rock, lightweight, in the colorway Grayple, which is, there's sort of two purples. There's a warmer fuchsia-y purple, and then a cooler purple, a few shades of gray ranging from really light to almost black, and then just the tiniest pops of that sort of scummy green that Blue Moon does so well. And I started knitting this up last night into Flax Light. So it's going to be a little pullover. It has garter bands that go from the shoulders down the arms, and then the body's just stockinette. I'm knitting the 6 to 12 month size because the baby was born at the end of September. He'll be about 6 months. Yeah, he will be 6 months when I see him. So hopefully this will fit at some point. That's my theory with baby knits, is knit it on the larger side and it'll fit sometime. It's Canada, so baby always needs a wool sweater at some point. And I really like it. Because I've been doing the raglan increases, it hasn't had a chance to pool. It's just been this lovely sort of variegated, completely random pattern, which I really like. I'm sort of hoping that that continues on the body, although that's not guaranteed because that'll be a static number of stitches. And the yarn is sort of fairly regular, like a lot of Blue Moon's dye patterns are. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I've already got the yoke, and I'm ready to separate for the sleeves. This circular needle either needs to be longer or shorter, because I normally like doing magic loop, and I did that for sort of the collar and the first little bit with this, and it was kind of short and awkward, and then I managed to stretch it out and just knit circularly with it. But I'm thinking that once I get rid of the arm stitches, I mean, you will end up adding more for the body, but I'm not sure if it'll be enough. I really don't want to go buy another set of circular needles. I'm not sure why I bought them this length, when my theory for buying circular needles is just buy a hugely long one and then magic loop everything. But yeah, so I started a new knitting project, and I'm so happy about it, and I'm loving knitting. I'm loving my stash. Because I only looked through the sock yarn. It's like he's doing it on purpose. Hey, bud. Good boy. But yeah, I only looked at the sock yarn part of my stash when I was looking for what colorway would be good for a baby. And now I want to go through the rest of it. I had so much fun. I have all this yarn, guys. This is what a stash is for. You stash when you're earning the money, so when you're not, you still have a stash. It's amazing. And I just wanted to show you this guy as well, because I am a nerd. And as I said, I hadn't been buying stuff lately, but the other day I just really wanted to buy something frivolous for me, and this is one of the first sort of frivolous, useless purchases I've made in a long time. But it's a little Elrond. The box he came in, it's one of those Funko Pops. The box he came in said it was a Hot Topic exclusive, but I bought it on Amazon. I bought him on Amazon, and he doesn't live here. Normally, he lives on my bookcase on top of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. At one point, okay, it was probably 2002, I was convinced that Lord of the Rings action figures were a great investment because, like, old Star Wars action figures sold for a lot of money. So I would go to Toys R Us and buy a few action figures every week until I had this huge Rubbermaid bin, might even have been 2 Rubbermaid bin full of them. Like, still in the packaging, because that's important. And I was convinced I was going to make money on them. They're so mass-produced, they were never going to be worth anything. And I eventually realized that the last time I was at I think when I was at my parents' before I moved out here, I was clearing some of my stuff out that was still in their storage area. And I found those boxes, and I just thought, you know what? No. And I took them to a comic book shop and sold them for very little money. But when I was buying all those action figures, I bought 2 Elronds. This is like Rivendell Elrond, but then the action figure I bought was like Battle Elrond from the flashback to the first stage, or that, no, not the first stage, but that first battle. I bought 2 of those so I could take one out of the box. And for a while that one sat on the bookcase, and now he sits over by where I sit and watch TV on the couch by the air conditioner. And so now I have Elrond in armor and Elrond in his happy little robe and his crown. And that's been my life for the past couple weeks, with this background noise. But soon, very soon, we're going to go for a WALK to the VET, which I don't think I need to spell that one out. He likes the vet, because the vet feeds him handfuls of treats. Like, if the vet's going to give him a needle, like, to give him his vaccinations, he just, like, piles the same treats I use, the freeze-dried liver. I break them into tiny bits, like the size of a pinky fingernail or so, and feed them to Conan when he's a good boy. The vet just takes a whole handful of the full-size pieces, drops them on the table in front of the dog, and then Conan's eating them up. And the vet's giving him needles and taking blood and the thermometer, and Conan doesn't notice, because the nice man has basically fed him a meal of his favorite treat. So wish us luck at the vet. Let me know what is really inspiring you to knit right now, because I feel so like, yeah, knitting, and I want to make sure that feeling doesn't go away. So what gets you really inspired to knit? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm really sorry about the snoring, but it is pretty funny, and you only have to deal with it for 20-something minutes, whereas this has been my life for the past 2 weeks. So yeah, let me know down below, subscribe if you want to get notifications about when I post videos, and have a great week, and see you next week.